come to the stage right now, y'all. It is the one and only E1. Ooh!
Alright, you guys. Yeah, you know, when I first moved to Las Vegas, I was living in this house, and I had a bunch of other roommates, right? And one of them was this Japanese dude, and he didn't really talk to anyone, but he'd feed all the pigeons and stuff. And he'd been there for a couple of years, right? So when I got there, all the pigeons were like flocking to me and shit, you know? I was like, what the hell? Get away from me, you damn racist-ass pigeons. Yeah, one of my buddies is a white guy, but he's like really white. I think he's like part albino or something. Yeah, you know, when he comes to my house, like all the plants start growing in his direction and shit. And, you know, whenever I have sex, like, I never last as long as I'd like to, you know? I'm like, come on, penis, hang in there, you know? And it's always like, screw this. And, you know, I used to go to water parks, like, every summer, right? But then one summer, like, I went through, like, a kind of traumatizing event, so I stopped. And when I was 16, I was, like, waiting in this line up on the stair, you know, to go to the slide. And then I look up, and then there's this girl up there, but, I mean, next to me. She's about the same age as me, but, like, her boobs are, like, right in my face, you know? And it's kind of, like, cold and windy, right? So her nipples are, like, popping out. And I'm like, oh, okay, you know, so I, like, turned to the side. And then on this side, there's a girl, whatever, and her face is, like, right in my junk, you know? I already got, like, a partial woody going, right? And then she, like, yawns, you know what I mean? So I was like, oh, crap, you know, I was like, bang, you know? And so I was like, I gotta get out of here and shit. So I just fucking, like, ran up past everyone to the slide. And apparently it's pretty common in Raging Waters, because the lifeguard was like, come on, just go, you know? And so I got on the slide, got out of there, and I was like, man, they need to rename this place. It's called Raging Boners. Why did the oyster not share his food?
Why?
He was shellfish. There's this dude, right? He gets hard up to his toes. This sailor, right? And then they're out to sea about 6 months. And he's talking to his buddy. He's like, hey, when do we go back to port? You know, like, I'm getting kind of horny over here. And he's like, oh, no, we're not going back to port for like another 6 months. And he's like, what the hell? You know, I can't wait that long. He's like, well, have you tried the barrel? He's like, no, what's that? So he takes him to this room with a barrel in it. And the barrel's got a hole, right? It's like, well, there you go. And so, like, he fucks the barrel, you know? And it works really well, right? And he's like, oh, man, this is awesome. You know, he's talking to his buddy. He's like, man, I'm going to use that barrel every day. He's like, oh, you mean every day but Sunday, right? And he's like, oh, you can't use it on Sunday? He's like, well, you can, but Sunday's your day in the barrel, so. What do you call a guy that can make a business suit real fast? Taylor Swift.
You know, I think Pride Month needs a mascot. And I got the perfect one, the flamingo. Yeah, they got pink feathers, you know, they love to dance. And they're like a non-violent, like a, you know, non-predatory type bird, right? They only eat like brine shrimp and algae. Nobody gives a damn about no brine shrimp, right? You know what a group of flamingos is called? They're not called a flock. No, they're called a flamboyance. How gay is that, right? Yeah, it's like all the best parts of Pride Month all wrapped up into one animal and shit. Even the name flamingo is flaming O. A flaming O? That's just a burning butthole.
Wow.
Yeah, you know, whenever a guy like brags about how big his dick is, it's usually the opposite, right? His dick's usually really small, you know? I was talking to one guy the other day, he was like, oh yeah, man, my dick's so big, I'm hung like a horse. Like, yeah, like a seahorse. Yeah, you know, I think Shaquille O'Neal's like the happiest man on earth. You know, he's like always so jolly, and just everyone just loves him, right? I think because no one's ever messed with him. Yeah, you know, how are you gonna bully someone who's so tall that his crotch is in your face? It's like, hey Shaq, give me your lunch money. Never mind. Yeah, you know that thing, like if you're a lady and you're alone in the woods, would you rather run into a bear or like a strange man, right? And a lot of women are choosing the bear, you know? But I think that's just ignorance of bear knowledge. Because I ran into a bear alone in the woods once. Yeah, and he fucked the shit out of me. And you know, earlier this year, scientists, for the first time, recorded 2 male humpback whales having sex. And Warner Brothers already going to make a movie about it. Yeah, they call it Humpback Mountain. You know, it's weird how language changes over time, right? Like nowadays, if a guy came up to me and told me he was gonna blow my brains out, I wouldn't know whether to run away or pull my pants down. Yeah, I was watching this Bigfoot show the other day, and it struck me as how dedicated these Bigfoot hunters were. Yeah, you know, they're so devoted to something that might not even be real. Like comedians in their careers. Yeah, I've had sex with all different types of women, like white, black, Asian, Hispanic. In my opinion, Asian women give the best blowjobs. Yeah. If any of you ladies like to prove me wrong, you can meet me in the bathroom later. What did the Australian chess player say to the waiter? Checkmate. And you know, a couple months ago, right, North Korea, they sent over 200 balloons over to South Korea. They were loaded like with garbage and excrement. But that statement's not exactly accurate, because they weren't packed with shitty trash. No, they were filled with Dane Cook's jokes.
Damn. Sick.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a new disorder going around called Usher syndrome. Yeah, it makes you go blind and deaf. It's pretty serious, right? You know, because I always thought when you got Usher syndrome, it just made you go, yeah, yeah. Last time. Yeah, I was driving around the other day and I got pulled over by a horse cop. Yeah, it's crazy, you know? Like, I didn't know he was behind me until I heard this. Woo, woo! It wasn't the siren making that sound either, it was the horse. Is this on? Yeah, whatever. I'll just do this other jokes then. Yeah, you know, like I said, I did have sex with black lady once. Whatever. Not even that long ago, about a month ago. And it was cool, you know. And other than the skin color, like, she wasn't any different than any other lady I've had sex with. The only real difference I could truly say is that the whole time I was fucking her, I was like, don't touch your hair, don't touch your hair. Yeah, one of my favorite shows back in the day was, whatever, Different Strokes, right? Whatever, Gary Coleman, you know, he was one of my biggest TV stars. You know, he was like kind of famous for being a little guy, right? He was only like 4'8" when he died. And he died kind of young, right? He was only like 42 years old. So, I mean, what can I say? By all accounts, he lived a short life. Yeah, about a couple weeks ago, I was sitting here, right? And there was this dude sitting right there, you know? He's sitting there giving me the Jada Pinkett face. You ever seen the Jada Pinkett face? It's when they're like, you know? I was like, what the hell, dude? Don't be sitting there giving me no Jada Pinkett face. You better knock that shit off before I give the Will Smith hand. And you know, the NFL has one Asian player, and he's a kicker. Did you not find a more racist position for this guy? What, are you gonna make him go out barefoot in a karate uniform? Yeah, you know, April 4th is a new national holiday. It's now National Burrito Day. It's pretty cool, right? And the very next day, April 5th, it's now National Toilet Clogging Day. I'll tell you guys a story real quick. All right, the first day of 8th grade, right, there was this huge fight, you know, that I didn't see personally, but everyone told me about it. It involved some kid named Viet, some 7th grader that no one ever heard of. And Chago, you know, everyone knew Chago, right, was. He was like this gangster kid, right? He's like this, whatever, Cholo guy. He had a shaved head, and the rumor was that his brother was like some gang leader. So anyway, I was scared to death of Chago, you know. I spent all 7th grade avoiding this dude. And so this is the first day of 8th grade, right? And he's fighting some little kid, dude, some Vietnamese kid named Viet, right? The very first thing Viet does, right, he gets this weird kung fu stance, you know, he's like this, right? And everyone just starts laughing because they think he's fucking around. But he's not, you know, he's like, come on, right? And so Chago's like, all right, motherfucker. And then Viet, he just starts kicking and punching him, you know, like all these like quick little fucking like kung fu punches, right? And he starts winning, you know? And so Chago's got these two buddies, right? They jump in, they're like, fuck this, right? So they jump in. And Viet, he just starts fighting all of them, you know? And everyone said the same thing. It looked like, they said it looked like the three guys were moving in slow motion. And so Viet's just like, bam, 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 right? And he's like beating them all up, right? And so Chago's like, fuck this. He goes to his backpack and he gets these two sharpened pencils, you know? He's like, I'm gonna fucking stab you, right? And Viet, he just starts kicking at the pencils and shit, you know? And he breaks both of them, right?
And then he starts kicking everyone, like, bam, 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 right? And they're like, ah, shit, and they all just run away. And everyone's just all stunned, you know, and they're all just clapping and shit for Viet. I saw one of those dudes the next morning. He was fucking limping around and shit, you know. Fucking after that fight, like every one of us took martial arts, you know. And then after that, every one of us stopped using pencils. Alright, I'll live with this last joke. You know, comedians will always tell you two things, right? They'll always tell you when they just get booked on a show, and they'll always tell you when they just had sex. That's a bit juvenile, right? Like myself, I haven't been booked on a show in over a month. But I did get laid last week, so hoo-ah! I'm an empty one over there.
Come on in, you guys. Keep it fucking going. Good shit. Hell yeah, hell yeah. Oh, baby, we're gonna keep this thing.